one of our Lenten observances is that of making sacrifices. Hopefully, our Lenten observances are well underway already, but we can grow in them each year as we live out this Lenten time, as we make this Lenten campaign. And as we look to just one of the pillars, this one of sacrifice, I think we'll probably notice that it'll take on in our lives different shapes, different forms. I remember as a child that we would always give up something for Lent. And one of our family exercises was to announce to each other what we were giving up for Lent, which became a source of accountability too, if you have enough brothers and sisters keeping an eye on you. Usually that giving up involves something like candy, right? I remember hearing a story once of a kid who gave up candy for Lent, and his parents, of course, gave up alcohol. And then he saw his parents drinking beer, and he's like, "What? I thought y'all gave up alcohol for Lent." And they said, No, just hard liquor. And he said, "Well, fine, then I'm only giving up hard candy." And he went and got himself a Snickers. Sorry, I shouldn't be telling jokes during these, just because I'm not very good at telling jokes. But as we think of our sacrifices, giving up things like candy has come over the years under a certain amount of ridicule. And I've heard preachers recommend that instead we give up something meaningful. And if we don't know what to give up, we should ask our spouse because they know what we need to give up. And we oftentimes end up giving up some vice. And it's always good to give up vices. But this is a different dynamic of sacrifice than giving up something that we enjoy, something that we would generally call good, something that we don't want to get back in Easter, right? If you give up snide comments and passive aggressiveness, you probably don't want to pick that back up on Easter Sunday as part of your celebrations of the resurrection of the Lord, right? And so it's a different dynamic. And today's first reading, and kind of playing into the gospel, reminds us of this idea of sacrifice and invites us to consider more deeply what sacrifice is, because we say things about sacrifice all the time. We say, I sacrificed my career for my children, or I sacrificed so much for my job, or Jesus sacrificed his life on the cross, or sometimes in order to maintain integrity, we have to sacrifice even our lives. Like there is a sense of sacrifice that matches Webster's dictionary definition of giving up something of value for something else of value, right? That we're not giving up things that don't have value. We're actually giving up things that have value. And so as we join Isaac in carrying the wood up the hill for the sacrifice, as we maybe finger the knife with his father, Abraham, it's a deep contemplation about this giving up of something of value. That Isaac was definitely of value, beloved, the apple of the eye of his father, but also the promise, God's promise of a great inheritance, of a land, of a people, of descendants as numerous as the stars of the sky, of the sands of the seashore. And here he was trudging up a hill beside the promise with a knife to kill him, to sacrifice him to God, because he found his relationship with God also to be of value. That's a hard reading, right? One that usually makes us kind of want to turn the page. And then we can fast forward to the Father giving his son Jesus, and we're like, okay, now it makes sense, right? But that the Father didn't give up some devil. He didn't give up some irreputable angel, some disobedient spirit. He gave his son, something of great value, something that had the most value, that he gave up for something else of value, for us. But there's something in this relationship between God and Abraham that I think can help us dig deeper into the anatomy of sacrifice. And it actually makes our giving up candy, probably more chocolate than hard candy, but makes us giving up candy have some value, and whatever other good things that we choose to give up for a time. Because the anatomy of sacrifice is very much the anatomy of a gift, of how we receive gifts well. We all know people who think that the world owes them, and if you give them something, if they don't say it, they at least indicate that it's about time, and they've been waiting for a while for you to get it right. But that's not good gift receiving, right? That's not how gifts bless us. But we also have the experience, right, of receiving a beautiful, a great gift, and just saying from the bottom of our heart, no, I can't take that, right? I can't take that from you. You have to keep it. And all good gifts are given twice, right? They're given to us, we refuse them, and they're given again with a greater sense of gift and freedom. And that's happening with Isaac in that first reading today. God has given Abraham, finally, a son that will be the beginning of this promise of a great nation. And now God asks for him back, and realizing that Isaac isn't his, that he doesn't own him, that he hasn't earned him, that Isaac is God's, he willingly is prepared to give him back to God. And they trudge up the hill together. Abraham lights the wood on fire and ties up his son, and God provides instead a ram for the sacrifice. That God provides the ram for the sacrifice, and God provides his son for the sacrifice, and God provides our homes and a world of things that fills them. And God gives Abraham back his son Isaac. And together they walk down that mountain into their own land to become a great nation. And that gift was given twice. And that made it a gift that was well received. And the role of sacrifice in our life at its best, when we give up the good things, like sometimes we think that fasting is dieting, but it's not. Dieting is dieting. It's a health thing. If we are eating too much, we should eat less, whatever, that's fine. Fasting is giving up something good, like bread or meat, right? And it's giving that up, giving it to God, because it wasn't ours to begin with. And we'll probably have another meal, and we'll probably eat well, and we'll receive the next time what we eat as gift. Better than we did when we just kind of said, bless us, O Lord, and these are your gifts. But we didn't even realize that we said gifts when we said the prayer. But as we live in this double giving, as we give back and receive again, that this becomes the kind of gift that is about love, that is about relationship. And we're invited in this Lenten time of sacrifice, as we give God back what he gave us, as we at least pretend, right, to refuse his gifts for a little while. And he still gives them. We not only do a better job of receiving the gift, whether that's candy or something much more valuable, we we receive that gift a second time, and we know it better to be a gift. And as we think through of our comfortable homes and our full houses, of what we might give, of what we might recognize as gift and not hold on to so tightly, of what might bless the poor, of what might become a meaningful sacrifice, that we're not just sacrificing our vices. We, like the Father, are giving up the most beloved, the most beautiful. And for in our lives to be able to recognize what we might give up as a way of acknowledging that it's gift, like ancient farmers that burn the first fruits, to say, I know this crop came from God. And then they ate and they enjoyed the gift that they received with gratitude. May in our lives this Lent, our sacrifice, increase our gratitude, our ability to receive well, to receive a second time our gifts. May our sacrifice build our relationship of love and gratitude with our God.